If you own a rental in North County, San Diego, here's a question that trips up a lot of owners. How much can you actually collect for a security deposit in California right now? And the reason why is because the answer to this question changed in 2024. And if you get this question wrong, it can cost you and maybe even end you up in small claims court. So let me walk you through it, and then I'll tell you how we handle deposits a little differently and the reason we do that. So California changed the rules under a law called Assembly Bill 12. And so now for any deposit you collect from a tenant on or after July 1st, 2024, so we're well past that now, the cap is 1 month's rent. That's it, 1 month, whether the place is furnished or unfurnished. And that 1 month cap, that now includes the pet deposit too. So you can't stack a separate pet deposit on top like we used to. So there's one exception. If you're a small landlord, meaning you're a real person or an LLC made up of real people, and you own no more than 2 rental properties, and you have no more than 4 units in total, then you're allowed to collect up to 2 months rent. But here's the part that matters a lot around here. No one discusses this, but that small landlord exemption doesn't apply if your tenant is a military member. So if you're renting to someone who's active duty military, the cap is 1 month no matter how many properties you own. And you're not allowed to turn those service members away just because you'd rather collect 2 months rent from another tenant. So think about where we are in Carlsbad. You've got Camp Pendleton right up the road, in Oceanside, in Carlsbad and Vista, a large number of people in the rental pool that are military members. And we've had great experience with those members, by the way. But if you're a small landlord and so you're counting on a 2 months deposit, there's a very good chance that the law just kind of puts you back at 1 month anyway, and you might not find out until you're already in a dispute. So here's how we do it and the reason why. Even when an owner technically qualifies for 2 months, we only collect 1 month rent for the deposit. And we've done it that way since 2018. And in all those years, we've never had one move out where the damage was higher than 1 month's deposit. So why do we just collect 1 month? A few reasons. One, it sidesteps the whole military exemption confusion, and the rules they're inconsistent and they change. We just eliminate that risk altogether by just treating every tenant the same. Number two, a lower deposit we believe actually attracts better applicants and gets your property leased faster, because you're not asking a good tenant for a giant check up front. And number three, we just don't believe that holding more of someone's money than we actually need. And we haven't needed more than 1 month rent. So the real protection, I believe, isn't a bigger deposit. The real protection is screening the tenants right up front in the first place. Checking credit, income, rental history, the background. You just get that right, and the deposit almost never matters anyway. So now the deposit rules aren't just about how much you collect, but they're also about how you give it back. And this is where owners get burned. Under the law, I think it's 1950.5 or something like that, you've got 21 calendar days after the tenant moves out to return the deposit, along with an itemized statement for anything that you took out of the deposit. 21 calendar days, and weekends and holidays do count. And if you miss that window, you can lose the right to keep any of the deposit, even if your deductions were completely correct and legitimate. And if a deduction is more than $125, you've got to attach actual receipts or invoices or estimates. If your team did the work, you've got to describe the work, the time it took, and the rate for doing the work. And owners who try to do this from memory, weeks or months later, no documentation, are the ones who end up in small claims court and it doesn't go well. So we built a process to prevent that fight before this even escalates. 2 pieces worth knowing about. First, every move in and move out, we document the property using a 360-degree camera. It looks like one of those virtual tours that you might see for new homes. And the reason we do this is because a regular photo just does the 4 walls, it just misses things, and you can't prove to the judge the condition at move out and move in because you just don't have enough documentation. But the 360 camera that we use records it, and it lets us record normal wear and tear versus tenant caused damage with good evidence. So when we send the tenant their final deposit statement, we include a deposit dispute form. So that form lets the tenant push back and show us their proof up front. And here's the thing, the reason we do this is that proof that they give us is going to be the exact same evidence that they would walk into small claims court with. So if they've got a reasonable case, we'll settle it right then and refund that portion instead of losing a day in front of a tenant-friendly judge. So it just saves everybody time, money, and stress, and so we just do it all up front. So the short version is, in California, the deposit cap is 1 month. Now, 2 months if you're a small landlord, but only if your tenant is not a service member. So, and that catch hits North County owners more than most areas of the country. And the deposit is only as good as your documentation and your accuracy of your documentation. If you want this written down so that you're not relying on memory, we put together a free Carlsbad Landlord's Profit Protection Kit. And this kit includes a California compliance checklist that covers the deposit rules, the 21-day timeline, and the other things that can quietly just make your life difficult. And you can grab that Profit Protection Kit at the link below, and we'll send it right over. And I'm Guy Garner with Raintree Property Management. Thanks.